All right, great. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Hi.
Hey,
How's it going?
we're having electrical problems through the city. So if the light goes out behind me, I'm still here. Okay,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
so it might blink on and off. Okay.
Got you. So, I'm going to record video as well. And
Okay.
then, but not on my side, just on your side. And
All
then,
right.
yeah, if that's okay with you.
I understand.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, how was your birthday? Happy birthday.
it was good. I went to dinner. I went to a 5-star restaurant here. It was nice. Bought myself a pair of shoes.
Nice.
So I just did my normal stuff.
Yeah. What'd you eat?
Had a great dinner.
What'd you
So
have?
I had prime rib
Mm,
and had broccoli, and then I had these spinach. Was it spinach and like cream cheese
yum.
chips? It was really good. So,
Ooh, sounds delicious. I love
so
prime
how are
rib.
you guys today? What
Um,
do you want to talk about tonight?
yeah, so well, I was gonna kind of ask you if there was anything in particular that you wanted to talk about. I'm
We
game
can
for
just talk.
yeah, for whatever you wanna.
We can talk for anything in general.
Cool.
I'm all ears here.
Yeah, sweet. So yeah, I don't know. How about you know what? I've been thinking a lot about um the what do you call it? The that one creature, the white one.
The rake?
Yeah, the rake. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about
Yeah.
that a lot lately, just because I've not, I haven't really gotten into it that much. But what do you got in your hand right there?
Oh, I was going to show you this. See?
Oh, wow. That
This is
is
my
great.
this is my this is one of my pride and joys. My handprints right there. So, but
Uh-huh.
this is one of my pride and joys right here. And I'm
Wow.
going to explain something to your viewers when we get going. I'm going to explain
Hmm.
something to the viewers about what they need to do when they cast a footprint. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
it's very important that they do this. So don't. I mean, it's. I'm just letting you know. I was told
Yeah.
to do it when I started out. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that was by Al Hodgson. I don't know if you even know Al Hodgson.
I'm not sure.
He was a very good friend of mine, and
Hmm.
I actually donated a print to the museum, the Willow Creek Museum,
Hmm.
that he helped me cast. So that's in one of the stands down there.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay. So Al was based in California too at one
he
point.
was out of Willow Creek.
Okay. Has he passed?
Oh yeah, he's gone
Oh, okay.
many years ago.
Oh, okay.
But he was a good guy. He was very what's the word? I'm sorry. I don't speak well. He was very he wasn't selfish with his time.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very diligent. He was a matter of fact. He was out in the public when he'd come help people. See, I couldn't get in '92. I couldn't get it. Are we recording?
Yeah, I've been recording since
Okay.
we started. So,
So in '92, when I first saw my Bigfoot,
hmm.
I had 34 footprints from the creek bed going up into the forest.
Oh, wow.
And I knew nothing about Bigfoot. I was in my 30s.
Hmm.
I'm just coming home from the military. I was just doing my thing, and I didn't know anything about Bigfoot. And then I couldn't get anybody to help me because I didn't know what to do. I'll be honest with you. I lived in a neighborhood. Well, I lived in a community of about 600 people.
Hmm.
And it was in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle of nowhere. Klamath is very tiny.
Yeah.
Back then it was a bunch of mobile homes, and I had a mobile home. I was 1,000 feet from the redwood forest, the tree line.
Oh, wow.
I'd cross the creek, and then you go right up into the trees. And I didn't have anybody to help me, and I started making phone calls, and I called a few people that are extremely famous right now,
Hmm.
and they wouldn't come help me. And then I got a call one time, and they said, you can uh, call this guy. So I called him, and hi, this is Al Hodgins. How you doing today, sir? I said, I'm fine, sir. How are you? I said, look, I just saw Bigfoot. I was wondering if I could get some help. And he goes, well, where do you live? I said, in Klamath. He goes, I'll be there in 2 hours. And he showed up and I took him up the hill and I showed him all the prints and he agreed 100% that it was real prints. And then I had no idea how to cast them.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back into town, we went into Klamath and bought all of their plaster of Paris. I've always used plaster of Paris. Okay, I'm gonna kind of go off base here and then I'll go back.
Okay.
I've always used plaster of Paris to cast my prints. For one thing, plaster of Paris to me is a much more sturdy. I used hydrocal one time,
Mm-hmm.
and hydrocal took so long to dry. I mean, I waited for hours for it to dry. Now, see, with plaster of Paris, once it gets hot and begins to cool down,
Mm-hmm.
when my footprints are in the ground, I take a little tiny piece of wire and I slide underneath the footprint to break it from the ground. I pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
I put it on something cool like a wet rag or something.
Mm-hmm.
I let it cool down. I put it in my car and I bring it home and I let it completely dry and then I brush it off. And that's when you end up with this. See, this was taken to the sand. Now, outside of Crescent City, there's a place called Indert's Beach. And there's an Airbnb there.
Mm-hmm.
Between Crescent City. It's kind of close to the Trees of Mystery.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you've been there. So
Yeah.
there's an Airbnb there, and there's a little creek that runs along the Airbnb. There's a little creek right there, and the lady that used to run that called me and said, "We've had a sighting." So this is one of those footprints, anyways.
Oh,
But
wow.
this was in sand. It's got sand all over it,
Mm-hmm.
and believe it or not, this print is 30 years old.
Wow.
Cast it in. Let me see. Well, here I'll show you what I'm going to tell. I'll tell you. So, oh, there goes my lights. See. So
That's cool.
now I'm okay. So it's dark now. I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix this. Okay. So
No, it's
anyway,
fine.
will you? Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
So on the back of the footprint when it's laying in the ground,
Uh-huh.
I put my initials on here. DLO, Daryl Lee Owen.
Mm-hmm.
My trademark is a ship wheel. So do you see the ship wheel right here?
I do. Yeah.
There's a ship wheel. Then down here, another ship wheel. And then right here, it says October of 92.
Oh, wow.
And this one says, hey, thank you. Then right here, it says number 17.
Nice.
So I number all of my prints, including my initials. Now, the reason why I do this is because if somebody ever steals this and they try to sand it down because there's little sticks in here. See these little sticks in here? I actually use sticks right from the forest and I put them in there to make the cast stable.
Yeah, that makes sense, huh?
So if they ever try to sand this down and take your name off of it, they can't because it'll break it.
Ooh.
So
yeah.
I've done it like that. So this too, let me show you. I promise I'll go back to the, so on this one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is my handprint.
Oh,
so
that is huge.
Okay. So, and I think I sent you the papers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so you have the exact measurements and all that stuff. But on the back here, it says DLO. There's my, oh, I'm sorry. Let me put this, I'm sorry. There's my wheel.
Yep.
Okay. And down here is a 1 in October of 92. So this print, this handprint, and this footprint go together. This is one creature.
Wow.
Okay, so these are the same Bigfoot.
Wow.
So let me go back to casting the prints. Al had to teach me everything I had. Al taught me everything. I knew nothing. So he taught me how to do the casting. He told me, let's try hydrocal, let's try plaster of Paris. I'll show you each one. Well, I didn't like the hydrocal because it took way too long for it to dry. If you're going to do things that are real fast and immediate, use plaster of Paris. It's a lot easier. It's lighter to carry. It's not so yucky. But it's well worth the, little box that you get in. I get it at Walmart, I think for $6. So, and I think it was $3 at Walmart back then, but it's a lot better. Now, some professional guys, they use other stuff, something, but I have all of my footprints, every print that I have I carry my handprint in a Pelican box. See right here?
Oh yeah.
My handprint goes in a Pelican box
Mm-hmm.
and with the footprint, and it's vacuum sealed, and it goes in a bank when I don't have it.
Nice.
So I don't ever leave it at home, and I never carry it in my car unless I'm going straight to the bank.
Wow. Yeah.
So, anyways, Bigfoot. Let me talk about Bigfoot for a second. I know I
Okay.
don't want
Yeah.
to.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in '92, our community in Klamath decided they were going to go against us. They didn't want anything to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
I was a city slicker. I was only there temporarily. I was retiring out of the military. I was, I was in between and I didn't really know what to do. I was stationed at Indert's Beach. There's a weather station at the top of the mountain at Indert's Beach. Now I asked for Area 51 because I was a NBC NCO. I was a nuclear, biological, chemical war defense member.
Oh wow.
So that was my job. What I did was I took apart intercontinental ballistic missiles
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. So I was number 92 into Kuwait City during the invasion. So I did all that. But during this time when I was doing this stuff, I got out. I was IRR, which is inactive ready reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Now I asked for Area 51. Everybody knows what Area 51 is. It's Groom Lake in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you're completely out of your mind. We're not going to give you anywhere close to that. I said, well, how about Area 52, Dabney, Utah? I'll take Dabney. They said, you're even more higher than you were before you wanted to ask for Area 51. I said, okay. I said, so let's do this because I know about some things that a lot of people will know, but they don't talk about because a lot of us, and I'll be honest with you. And if you get to the point where you're, when you start talking, you'll find out what a gag order is. You'll find out what a suppression order is.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're real. Trust me.
Yeah.
So I asked, well, where can I go? Can I have Gitmo, which is Guantanamo Bay?
Right.
Now Gitmo has a huge city underneath it.
Oh wow.
Now I'm going to try to go into a little bit of government conspiracies, but they say that's where the stars have gone that want to fake their deaths and they go live out the rest of their life under Gitmo.
Oh wow.
They said, forget it. Nah, you ain't going there either. I said, okay, so how about the city under Denver Airport? Oh, there goes the power again. I told you it was going out.
It's your mood light.
It is, yeah. Woo! So, but they said, I asked for Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, no, you can't have Denver either. But but we will give you Indert's Beach. And that's how I ended up in Klamath.
Okay.
So can you imagine what this is doing to my computer? Woo,
Oh
man.
my goodness.
So, thank God I'm on my phone. Hey, that's back on now. It's been doing this for about an hour.
Really? Is it raining or what weather?
My TVs are off. My computers are unplugged. So I'm just on regular old,
Yeah.
But thank God the phones are still on.
Yeah.
So
Really.
anyways, go back to Klamath.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell I don't know, I'm going to tell your viewers how I got the handprint.
Yeah.
So the handprint, I'm sure everybody knows what a bait trap is. A bait trap, and I'll tell you how my bait trap was. We started casting the prints, and Al was with me, and he said, no, let's go ahead and do a bait trap, and we'll leave it overnight, and I'll come back in the morning, and we'll take care of it. I said, okay. So we went up the mountain, went about a half a mile or so, and we carried up sand, gunny sacks full of sand,
Mm-hmm.
beach sand. And we dug a hole about the size of a dinner plate, about 3 feet deep,
Mm-hmm.
and we put the sand around the hole. And believe it or not, I put Reese's Pieces in there.
Oh.
Candy, the candy.
Mm-hmm.
Left it there. We didn't do anything. We went back down the hill. Al says, I'll see you tomorrow, Daryl. I said, thank you, sir. God bless you. I appreciate it. And he goes, now, don't do anything. Just stay in your house. Don't worry about it. Lock your door. Stay away from your neighbors, because my neighbors hated me because I was bringing so many people in.
Oh, sure.
I said, okay. So the following day, he shows up, and we go back up the hill, and there's a handprint,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a footprint, and the candy's gone. So that's where I got the handprint and the footprint. And what happened is the Bigfoot walked up to the bait trap. He stepped, put his hand down, reached down in the hole, pulled the candy up, stood back up, and walked away. Boom,
Wow.
got him. So I got him.
Good for
So
you.
yeah, well, it wasn't my idea, but I took the credit for it. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I try not to take credit for it, but it was really a great idea, and I've done it
Yeah.
several times outside of that area. I've done it a few times
Uh-huh.
in the other places that I've gone where I know there's a family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now I'm going to jump forward a little bit here.
Yeah.
My second Bigfoot that I saw, I was in an area in actually in the middle of California.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's called Stumpy Meadows, and Stumpy Meadows was my regular area of patrol. I checked everything. I checked fences, logging fences. I had a pass to go in there. I actually had keys to open the gate, and we'd cross the gate. We'd go in there. There was a lot of weird things about this place because there was a sign there that said no hunting and no fishing, but it said experimental um, what's it experimental something progress going on in this area,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of experiment. And it was like, well, what would they be hiding? What would be so bad that they'd say, you can't hunt, you can't fish here, there's experimental stuff going on here. And I found out why. Now I know people think I'm a weird guy. I've lived with that all my life. I have a very weird stigma because, first of all, I'm suffering from a mild case of dementia. So I will flop around on you for hours. But, and that's the God's honest truth.
Sure.
I do have vascular dementia. So
Mm-hmm.
I will speak it when I say it. So, okay.
Yep. Gotcha.
Or I'll speak it when I think of it, not when I say it. And when I
Right.
say it, I am speaking it. Okay. Okay. So anyway, we would go out and we would I actually found a dinosaur print there.
Oh, wow.
And yes, people are going to say you never found it. I will send you the pictures when I hang up here. I will send you pictures of the dinosaur print.
Awesome.
And we actually found 16 footprints
Mm-hmm.
of this dinosaur print.
Wow.
And I did cast them. I've got them in my garage, and
Uh-huh.
they're big. They're big pieces. They're
Did they
and
ever
I did
figure
do it.
out what it was from? What kind of dinosaur it was from?
No, we have no idea. It's
Wow.
four-toed,
Oh,
but it was big. It's
neat.
big.
That's neat.
It's big. But anyways, that's one of my famous my one of my famous cryptid stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met a lot of Native American Indians. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so many Native Americans. When I first started, I had a meeting with the Hupa leader. I had a meeting with one of the Talawa. I did an acorn soup tent with them to cleanse my soul. We did smoke tributes, things like that, and
Mm-hmm.
because of the brotherhood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Me being a white man back then, I'm still a white man, but back then when I was younger, they took me in. They actually told me, you shouldn't mess around. I was one of those people that didn't believe in monsters, and I grew up kind of a weird childhood, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe in big monsters and you know werewolves and dogmen and the rakes and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But as I got farther into Bigfoot,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that there are other creatures, including the rake, which we'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The rake, Dogman, the Grafton monster,
Mm-hmm.
um, all of these different creatures that we have in our forest that nobody ever, since 942 AD, when Leif Erikson saw his first Bigfoot that was
Mm-hmm.
supposedly the hairy men running around on the beach scaring his men.
Right.
He didn't know what the word Bigfoot was, but these were large, hairy men running around scaring his men.
Yeah.
So let's assume that they were Bigfoot. Okay. And I know
Yeah.
assuming is to make assuming is not a good thing, but let's just assume that they were Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. We got Leif Erikson's men out there running around chasing these big hairy monsters that are howling at each other, scaring the guys and stuff. Well, here's one of those things. Why haven't we, as human beings, with all of the technology that we have? I have thousands of dollars worth of technology. I have drones. I have game cameras. I have Wi-Fi game cameras. I've got equipment coming out my bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I've never got a picture of one. Not one
Wow.
picture of one on any of my equipment. But
Darn.
I have my handheld, my phone, I've gotten pictures. Now we've got TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna jump to TV shows here that are on TV. Now I love TV shows, but I stay away from TV shows because TV shows don't educate us.
Mm-hmm.
TV shows are for people who want to sit there and watch TV and laugh. I mean, I laugh my
Mm-hmm.
caboose off on when I watch Mountain Monsters.
Right. Me too.
Oh my God,
Love it.
those guys, Buck and all, they're just hilarious.
They are.
Wild Bill,
Yeah.
I laugh my bottom out there. But
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, every creature that they have on that show
Mm-hmm.
is a real creature in those counties.
Yeah.
Those are real monsters
I
that people
believe
have.
that. Yeah.
And the Yahoo, the
Mm-hmm.
Silverfinger, the Lady of the Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Out here we have the Indian in the woods. It's a what is a terror trail or something out here in the Appalachians,
Mm-hmm.
and people go there and see Indians all the time out there that walk across the path and disappear. So,
Right.
anyway, anyway, back to I'm sorry, I get off on tangents.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
So we'll go back and then so we got Bigfoot. Now Bigfoot has been around since whenever we'll say since Gimlin and Patterson saw Patty.
Sure. Okay.
1967, right?
Okay.
Willow Creek, they saw it. Okay, now first things first, is Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson both were armed.
Right.
Okay, now there's rumors, there's speculation that they shot one.
Mm-hmm.
It's all speculation. If they shot one, then we should have one.
Mm-hmm.
But we as people, I am far from being an expert. I'm never going to that my opinion doesn't count. I mean, I'm just a researcher like every other guy out there. There's no experts,
Right.
none whatsoever.
Right. I agree.
And the reason why is because we don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
You can't call yourself an expert. And I look through some of this media stuff and Bigfoot expert and Bigfoot this and expert and expert. You're not an expert.
Nope.
You're a researcher just like the rest of us are. We
Exactly.
all learn every day we walk out the door and go into the forest. We're educating ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, for TV shows. TV shows like to educate you while you're watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're gonna share a couple of now. Let's see, we've got Bigfoot Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
we've got Bigfoot Bounty Bigfoot, we've got Finding Bigfoot, we've got Expedition Bigfoot, the new one with Mariah.
Right.
So if you've watched all three of their seasons,
I have.
You have. So you're going to know exactly what I'm going to say here in just a second. So we'll take season one. They started out looking for a Bigfoot. They saw a shadow across the field that got up and walked, and they didn't know whether it was a Bigfoot or not. Could have been a man. It could have been a man with a backpack on because he was under a FLIR. They were watching it with a FLIR. The deer got scared. It ran away. Ending of season one starts season two. Now, all of a sudden, Bigfoot now has become a shadow. So now we're talking about shadow figures.
Yeah.
We're talking about it disappearing. So we've gone from what they call real life. Now we've gone to the paranormal side.
Right.
So, and now in number three, for number three, they find a footprint, but they only find one footprint. You know how many one footprints I have found in my career? Hundreds. I have 100+ footprints in my shed.
Wow.
One single footprint. Now we're going to come off of the TV shows, but I'm just saying that's part of those things. They have hundreds of thousands of dollars to their disposal to find a Bigfoot, capture a Bigfoot, be, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Yeah.
they still have not got one.
Yeah, I know. It's
You know
ridiculous.
what? I'll tell you why, in my opinion, like I said, is because Bigfoot is interdimensional. I think Bigfoot can come and go as it pleases. Same thing as the Native Americans have said forever.
Right.
Come and go as they please. Talk to a shaman. He came to my work. I worked for a hotel. And he took me off to the side. He knew I was Bigfoot, and I just wanted to talk to him. And he told me, he said, Bigfoot, you're never going to kill a Bigfoot. Bigfoot is never going to be captured because he is the boss of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
He is the man in the flowered house, and he's called Wopekamau. Just plain and simple. That's what he wanted. And
Yeah.
he, after our discussion, he talked about him and his brothers going to a secret place on Smith River, which is up towards you somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Going out to Smith River, they have an isolated spot out there where all the shaman brothers got together. They were singing songs of praise and thank you. And all of a sudden there was purple fire. There was wind blowing the treetops, and there was a Bigfoot came down the mountain, stood on the side of the mountain like he was like a god or some kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they worshipped him. So what they did was these warriors, these shamans, went out and got a rock and brought it back and painted praises on this rock for this Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bigfoot ascended the mountain and was gone.
Wow.
But they had summoned him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the coolest story.
Yeah.
And it was hard not to believe this man. I mean, to me was a real shaman. He had the garb on, and he had the really nice cane, and he talked like a Native American, but everything was spiritual to him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back in. We're going to jump back in a little bit, and I've gone on a couple, 2 or 3 researches where I've gone into the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we followed some footprints one time. It was in El Dorado County Forest, up by the Sierra Nevadas.
Yep.
Matter of fact, it was just outside of Donner Summit.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And we followed these footprints, and there was probably, I don't know, a quarter of a mile of these footprints. And we're all following. There's like 4 or 5 of us going, and we followed these footprints right out into the middle of this opening.
Mm-hmm.
And right in the middle of the opening, the footprints stop, and there's nothing.
Wow.
There's absolutely nothing. There's no trees for it to jump into, not unless it sprouted wings and flew away.
Yeah.
It didn't bury itself in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
It just disappeared.
Wow.
So I can't explain that.
Mm-hmm.
I have no explanation for it whatsoever, other than they're interdimensional. They can come and go as they please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now we're going to go to the Rake.
Oh.
Ready?
Okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah. If you want to go there, we can continue going on the path that we're going. So.
Do you want to ask me any questions? I'll try to answer them for you.
No, I was gonna say that people are they're like, okay, Bigfoot is flesh and blood, or and there's absolutely no way that he could be interdimensional or a spiritual being, right? And then you've got people who are like absolutely gung-ho on the theory of it being a interdimensional being and, a spiritual being or whatnot. So I'm thinking, because human beings have found ways through meditation and other ways to tap into that part of their brain that gives them the extra sensories, the extra empathy, right? Telepathy, things like that. So what if Bigfoot is, because he's bigger, he's stronger, he could have more empathy, like his senses are heightened, right? It makes sense to me that their senses, including their perception, is heightened. Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
I think Bigfoot, I believe that Bigfoot is flesh and blood.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
Because a spirit doesn't leave these.
Right. Yes.
A spirit doesn't walk on the sand or walk in the dirt and leave you footprints.
Yeah.
He doesn't leave me a handprint. He doesn't do all that. I mean, these are real flesh and blood things. But like you just said, maybe they're intelligent enough. Maybe they're a much, what's the word? Much more adapted to.
In tune?
In tune to the other side.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
Sure.
what if they are highly intelligent?
Mm-hmm.
They if and they can hide. Yes, they hide.
Mm-hmm.
People have seen them and they've just disappeared.
Right.
Okay, so what if they are extremely intelligent? Now, it's for me, I guess it's the people that kind of do me weird, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess I shouldn't say it that way. I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. I said it that way.
Yeah.
Are the people that say, well, oh, yes, he's flesh and blood, but
Mm-hmm.
where does he hide? He
Mm-hmm.
can't hide everywhere. I mean, there's what, 174 billion acres of forest in the United States.
I know, right?
You know, we see him within 25 feet of us, and then he disappears right where we're going to go stand. I saw one for a minute and 30 seconds. I
Mm-hmm.
filmed it. Um, you know, I'm a military trained tracker,
Uh-huh.
and I stood there and watched one through a viewfinder of a camera. It's on the A&E show,
Uh-huh.
and I've started crying. You know, I'm 6 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
I think I weighed 190 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm fresh out of the military. I wasn't afraid of anything. But that day I learned something that I should have never done. Number one, I made a huge mistake as I turned my back on it. And
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never turned my back on anything. But in that time, in that minute and 30 seconds that I was standing there watching it,
Uh-huh.
it's almost like something told me, turn around and go away. Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just want to be left alone. And
Mm-hmm.
I sat there and cried my eyes out. I dropped the camera. I dropped my camera. I mean, I had a brand new VHS camera that weighed
Mm-hmm.
45 pounds, you
Right.
know, and, I dropped my camera. I
Yeah.
turned my back to it. The only thing I could think of was, God, he's going to eat me.
Yeah.
I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And I blacked out. I passed out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally of fear. I just blacked out.
It was overwhelming. Yeah.
The guy that I was with, he come over and he goes, Daryl, wake up, wake up. I get up and I had peed my pants.
Oh,
I
wow.
had literally wet my pants. And
Yeah.
it's like, you talk about embarrassing. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
did that on TV too, of all things,
Mm-hmm.
and I cried on TV.
Yeah.
I've just, it hit me so hard. Now, I understand, like the cat and the canary.
Mm-hmm.
A cat can sit next to a canary cage or a bird cage and stare at the bird, and the bird will die
Mm-hmm.
because the bird will die out of fear because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't know what the cat's thinking. But what happens if Bigfoot can do that to us, or
Yeah.
the Grafton monster,
Yeah.
or any other kind of predatory animal? We're no longer the
Mm-hmm.
apex predator when we're in the forest.
Yeah. Right.
So why can't a Bigfoot do that? What if they're, like you just said,
Mm-hmm.
so highly intelligent?
Mm-hmm.
And what if they even if they aren't
Mm-hmm.
um, interdimensional
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, they still have that thing where fear is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's so overwhelming. I'm telling you, it's so
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming when you come face to face with one,
Mm-hmm.
and you just don't know what to do. I mean, I
Yeah.
was unarmed,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing I thought of was, my God, it's telling me to turn my back on it. I didn't want to turn my back on it, but I did it,
Yeah.
and I blacked out. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a tangent.
The fear was overwhelming. I completely
Yes, yes.
understand.
And it was scary. I'm telling you, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing scarier than to come face to face with one.
Oh, I can
So,
imagine. Yeah.
okay, so let's talk about the barn dwellers.
Yes.
As I call them. I was like,
Well,
out here they're called the barn.
you got
They're
me
called
think
the.
you got me thinking.
Okay.
I have the utmost respect for you, and I listen to everything that you say, and I love the articles that you write and post on our Facebook page. And so I've been thinking a lot about the rake. I usually don't give it very much thought at all,
Mhm.
but I'm curious because you said that you've seen one, right?
I have.
I do believe in manifestation. So I believe that if somebody they can manifest something through their own, their own mind and their own vision, they can scare themselves perhaps even into seeing something that's not there,
Mhm.
right? But
Right.
I'm not saying that this is one of those instances, but I'm saying
Okay.
that anything is possible, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know about your sighting of the rake and what, like, before you saw the rake, had you given it any thought at all?
Not one.
Yeah.
Okay, when I'm not working,
Mm-hmm.
I am a cat rescuer. I
Oh,
rescue kittens and cats.
we love cats.
I mean, I love cats.
Uh-huh.
So I probably have one too many, but I love cats. And I go and I'll climb in a barn. I'll climb under a barn. I will go into old abandoned buildings. I
Mm-hmm.
will rescue the babies to get them out of the house, out of where they're at.
Right.
Okay. So we got a phone call and said there are a bunch of kittens that the mother got hit by a car. So we went out and we decided we were going to rescue the babies. So we went into this barn and we found the babies, and we found 4 or 5 little babies. I'll send you a picture of one of them.
Okay.
And we found the babies. We took them back to the car. Well, we kept hearing a noise, and I'm not going to. Excuse me. It was just a noise. It was a noise that we'd never heard before. And we're thinking, well, maybe there's other little animals. There's some kind of animal there, a raccoon
Mm-hmm.
or a fox or a bobcat or some kind of other animal that's in distress in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
So we all went in the barn.
What made you think that? You were
Well, we
just.
heard these noises that were in the barn.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, the barn doors were, it kind of like it was a Jeepers Creepers moment with the
Mm-hmm.
the double doors,
Yeah.
and then you got the loft back there and you got hay bales and
Uh-huh.
all kinds of things.
Uh-huh.
So we go back into this barn like thing, and we're listening to the sound. It was like a, have you ever heard a bobcat cry? It kind of sounds like a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so it kind of sounded like that. It wasn't a baby, but it was of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
And we're probably, I don't know, 60, 70 feet from this big hay bale where this loft is at.
Mm-hmm.
And we could hear the sound. So the two of us, myself and another person, started walking towards the hay bales. And this thing stood up on us, and it was gray, real bony,
Mm-hmm.
big eyes, big smiley face. I would call it a smiley face. It wasn't smiling at us, but it
Mm-hmm.
had one of those big mouths,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
big eyes, round head, these shoulders that were long and skinny,
Mm-hmm.
and these really long arms. And it was like standing on the front of its legs.
Mm.
And we both stopped, and I kind of squealed a little bit. I'm, like, holy cow, get
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
and the thing leaped up on the backside of the loft and disappeared.
Wow.
Gone. Couldn't see it, couldn't find it. We even searched everywhere. We searched the whole barn thing. So we saw a rake, and it looked just like a rake. Now, on the internet, if you go and you look up
Mm-hmm.
the rake is somebody's vivid imagination. It was created for a movie.
Yeah.
But the rake has been around for years, years and years and years. They're called the barn dwellers out here. The
Oh.
moonshiners out here used to be terrified of the barn dweller.
Uh-huh.
And when they used to make moonshine way back in, well, they still make moonshine out here, but back
Yeah.
then, yeah, they make a lot of moonshine out here.
Yeah, they do.
But when the moonshiners, would go into an old abandoned barn,
Uh-huh.
and they would make sure that.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Hold on. Are you there, Daryl? There you are.
Okay,
There we go.
yes, okay.
All
Hey,
right.
I didn't have to push a whole bunch of buttons this time.
Yeah, I know, right? That was
So
a smooth
these
transition.
moonshiners used to say, these moonshiners would come back in, and they say there was this big white figure
Mm-hmm.
that would scare them out of the barn. because it was his dwelling. So they started calling it the barn dweller out here.
Right.
And there's reports out here. There's reports out here of little people. The Appalachians, and I'll be honest with you, Michelle, the Appalachians is a weird forest.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've gone out on a couple of Bigfoot searches, and we've heard a cackling witch. And I know witches. I personally know of witches, and they're nothing like stirring the cauldron and putting curses on you and things like that.
Right.
But this was one of those evil, cackling laughs, and it was terrifying. I mean, it's like I'm done. I'm done. But the Rake,
I've had some experiences in the Appalachians myself, but they've been paranormal, like ghostly. And it's usually when I'm driving through the Appalachians, because I've never really stopped and stayed anywhere, but it's a common transport between Michigan and South Carolina. You have to go through the Appalachians, right? So yeah. But anyways, go on. I just wanted to mention that.
I'm just saying that, the Rake it was supposed to be invented by somebody on the internet. And there's a lot of hype to that. But, it's just one of those conspiracy theories that the Rake's not real. But if you go to the YouTube and watch the Rake, there's a Rake there that's chasing a lady across the street. There's one chasing a moose.
They're creepy.
They're very creepy. They are a very paranormal spirit. They are a spirit. They are not flesh and blood, and I will say that right up front. They are not flesh and blood.
That's what I was wondering. Like, are they flesh and blood, or are they spiritual?
No, they are spirit, just like a ghost.
Right.
Oh, there goes my power again.
Ooh, spooky.
Ooh, look at that creepy picture. Lightning behind me.
Right.
So
I'm telling you, it's your mood light. I'm telling you.
There we go. Hey. Could you imagine living like this for an hour?
It'd be kind of fun.
This been going on all day. And this is my office of all things.
Oh.
So, but the Rake is very spiritual. It is very spiritual. You asked me if maybe it could have been something that I manifested. Well, other people have manifested it too.
Right.
So, I mean, I could see if I thought of something and saw it, maybe I could manifest. But other people see the Rake too.
And somebody was with you, right, when you got the kittens out? Yeah.
There was actually four of us, but only two of us saw it, myself and another person.
All right.
So, it's very, it just seemed it just took off. I mean, the mound of hay, and it stood up and looked over at us, and then kind of looked up and it jumped and it went right up on the backside of the loft and it was gone.
Wow.
It's just gone that fast. And usually I've always read that the Rake will chase you, and it never chased me. I think it was probably scared too. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I guess, everything has an origin, right? Everything has an origin. It has to come from somewhere. And that makes sense that you would say that, people there have known about it forever, and it was called something else, the barn dweller, right?
The barn dweller.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where it came from. Yeah.
It's like every state has a different name for Bigfoot.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Sasquatch, the Rougarou is in Louisiana.
Yeah.
The Rougarou is in Louisiana.
Right.
The swamp monster, the Yahoo, the Ohio grassman.
Yeah.
The Louisiana swamp monster. They got. I mean, there's every state. What's it? Australia's got the Yahoo.
Yeah. Yowie.
They've got the Yowie in Russia. They've got the Almas.
Yeah.
Now you see, there's another thing. Now, back in the day, did you know that Barnum and Bailey Circus actually hired Theodore Roosevelt, one of our presidents, to go and do great white hunting, because he was a great white hunter before he became president.
Right. Yeah.
But Barnum and Bailey Circus hired him to go hunt for Bigfoot.
No, I did not know that.
Did you know that Putin, the president of Russia, actually saw a family of Almasts? You can look this one up too. This is all in the news. He saw a family of Almasts and now has made hunting them completely illegal.
Really?
He saw a family of them, yeah. You cannot kill an Almast there.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
But back in the day, back in the day, we had the Datloff people.
Yep.
the 9 people that were killed
Uh-huh.
by the whatever it
The
was.
Dyatlov Pass, yeah. So,
Yeah, and there's so much speculation about that too.
yeah, exactly. I want to mention something that just recently there was a fifth grade class in the state of Washington in a certain county that was petitioning for Bigfoot to be protected, and they passed it. So that's
Yeah,
now there's several counties in the state of Washington where it's illegal to hunt for Bigfoot.
right.
Yep.
That's just acknowledgement that they know they
Yeah,
exist.
exactly. Yep. Yeah.
So in 2018, I knew a guy that had a website out.
Mm-hmm.
I put a website up. It was only up for a couple of months, but he was going to name names of people like senators and things like that.
Uh-oh.
It was during the COVID thing.
Oh, uh-huh.
And he was going to name names. He was going to talk about people who knew of it and why they're hiding it and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And 2 months later, the guy ended up dead as a doornail.
Oh my God.
And he was healthy too. He was very healthy.
Wow.
But he ended up dead as a doornail. Now, see, that's another thing about the
Mm-hmm.
government. The
Mm-hmm.
government's never going to admit to any of us
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that they exist. They'll
Yeah.
just do like they're doing with the fifth graders. Okay, sure, we'll
Mm-hmm.
make it illegal to kill one, but
Right.
yet they won't. But they won't tell you that they really exist.
Yeah.
You know, people like myself
Mm-hmm.
that have all the proof in the world
Mm-hmm.
from, I mean, you know what I have. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
and well, you know what I had. I don't have them anymore, but you know what I had.
Mm-hmm.
And then they end up giving you suppression orders, gag orders. They
Mm-hmm.
threaten you. They tell you're going to throw you in prison forever. They'll audit you every year. They're
Yeah.
gonna follow you with, they used to follow us.
Wow.
It was the most god awful thing. And I was a trusted employee.
Yeah.
Could go do whatever I wanted to do. I had keys, I had permits, and they would follow me. It's like, really, you guys, I mean,
Wow.
well, what do you have today? Did you see any eagles? Did you see a coyote? How about a couple of bobcats? I said, no. I said, but I've casted a couple of footprints. Do you want to see them? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but you could have made these. These are probably hoaxed. Dude. Oh, man. I'm
Wow.
telling you, they're never going to admit the
Mm-mm.
government's never going to admit that they exist
Right.
like I wrote in my post, if government ever opens it up and allows it to happen,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen? You're going to have tourists.
Yep.
You're going to stop logging, which is going to cost money. They're
Yep.
going to lose money.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have hunters out there killing each other, including the tourists.
Yes.
And you're going to have nothing but mayhem out there.
Mayhem. Yeah. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will just kill each other. And hunters out here, you're in the forest,
Mm-hmm.
and hunters don't care whether you're walking; they'll just bury you. I mean,
Yeah.
the moonshiners are the same way here. You walk up on one of their camps, and you might as well just start digging your own hole.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
because they're not going to let you go. They don't know who you are.
Mm-mm.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm here, believe it or not, in California. I carried a weapon, but
Mm-hmm.
I think I drew my pistol maybe twice in the whole time that I was in California.
Really?
Every time I go here, I've always got my weapon unsnapped. I just don't trust the forest here. First
It's
of all,
really
and
scary there. Yeah. I agree.
It's a scary place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is.
So,
Yeah, just the feeling that you get when you go into the mountains there is
yeah,
just
yeah.
you just don't
Then we
know.
got,
It's a feeling of not knowing.
yes.
Yeah.
And there's 4 creatures
Mm-hmm.
in the Appalachians. Now I'm probably pronouncing Appalachians wrong, so I'm sorry.
No,
Somebody
yeah,
will
I heard it
email
was
me or,
Appalachians. Let's see.
yeah, me too. The mountain monsters call it the Appalachians. So,
Appalachians. Yep.
yeah, but the Appalachians, anyways, there
Uh-huh.
are 4 creatures in the Appalachians that I have the majority of reports on.
Yeah.
One is Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
One is called the Grafton Monster,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a 4-toed. I have some footprints. I'll send you some pictures.
Okay.
It's 4-toed.
Mm-hmm.
It's big and lumbery, 7 or 8 feet tall, 400 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Grafton Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have the Dog Man, which is
Right.
supposed to be some kind of werewolf thing, kind of like the Beast of Bray Road.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say that I believe a lot in the Dog Man thing, but a lot of people have seen one.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go down that road where I don't want to say I don't believe in it because I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And then you have the rake, you have the barn dweller.
Right.
So those are the four main reports that I get here for me. And I probably average 3 or 4 reports a week
Wow.
of people seeing something out of the ordinary.
That's a lot.
And those are people that have courage
Yeah.
to come forward
True.
and make a report. Because a lot of people are too afraid to come forward. And a lot of this, where I live, is a tourist place. So I'm 20 miles from the Rockies. I live in the dead. I mean, I have an acre and a half of land in the Appalachians. I live in the forest.
Yeah.
I can walk out my back door and go Bigfooting, but people that see them are too afraid to make a report because they don't want to be harassed, ridiculed, humiliated. In the 32 years now, I'm going to up because I just did another year.
Yep.
In my 32 years that I've done research, I have been harassed. I've been humiliated. I've been called a faker, a hoax. You would not believe the stuff, but you know what? I know what I saw. I know what I've casted. I know what I've smelled. I know what I've sent off to have my DNA done. I've got hair. I've got all of it. I've got it all. The only thing I don't have is a body.
Right.
And I'm never going to have that. I'm never going to have that. I just turned 62 today, and I know for a fact I'm never going to have that. I just know it. I've done it for so long. I've watched shows where I watched this one today. It was kind of weird, but there was these guys that were bow hunting, and there's 2 guys, and the guy had a bow, and he was ready to shoot a deer, and he drew the straw back, and he was getting ready, and a Bigfoot walked in front of the deer. And what'd he do? He let the arrow slide down, and he reached over and grabbed his camera. Why? You should have, if you want to know what's going to happen. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what people, this is my opinion. Okay, so don't get me wrong. People want to kill one because they want to make a lot of money. There's money in this. There's money in
for sure.
Imagine just getting one. Imagine how much money you would get just on fallen people. What do they call the people that do handprints and footprints and scientists, and there would be like a auction war.
Yeah, really.
Remember the two guys that hoaxed the one where they said they had one in a refrigerator?
Yeah.
They got $1 million.
It's crazy.
They had to give the money back, but somebody gave them $1 million for a gorilla suit they bought at the Halloween store and put it in a freezer and froze it.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's insane.
It's all money. It really is all money.
That's
and
all
these TV shows don't help anyway either. They don't teach your kids, how to do it. You watch TV. You figure with TV shows that at least find something.
Yeah, really. You'd think so, but they want to keep it going.
Absolutely. And I love Cliff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a big fan of Bobo, so I'm going to end up hearing about that one later. You watch. I love Cliff. Cliff is Cliff. If I had to choose my 2 go-to researchers anytime, any day, one would be Al Hodgson. And my second one would be Cliff Brackman.
Yeah.
But I would choose Cliff Brackman by himself without Bobo.
Right.
Because it's just Cliff Brackman. Cliff Brackman, hands down, is one of the best. And I don't know him. Well, I know him, but I don't know him on a personal level. I've talked to him like I'm talking to you.
Sure.
And he knows who I am. But I've watched him. I've watched videos that he's made. And he's the only one that's logical.
Very logical. Yes.
And and the lady that was it Renee?
Yeah, Renee.
Renee?
Yeah.
Renee. She's the other one that keeps him stable.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, But with Cliff was always that one person that kept it straight.
Yeah.
When they found something, But stupid shows, hunting Bigfoot and Bigfoot bounty and stuff like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. They had a season, great, But
Right.
did you ever see anything? No,
No.
but no,
Yeah, no,
they
it's
never
just
saw
for,
anything.
and that's one of the reasons why I quit watching those shows, and that includes like Ghost Adventures and stuff like that, because it just is
Zach
so,
Fagan.
yeah, oh my goodness, it's
So
it's
now,
so repetitive, and there's not like
yeah,
nothing new. It's nothing new, you know.
the bald guy, Aaron,
Aaron, I love
every
him.
show, every show, every show. Dude, something touched me. I swear, something touched me.
I,
Oh, so let's go. Okay, now let's do this. Let's say something here.
uh-huh.
So now, as researchers like you and me,
Mhm.
and everybody that's probably going to be listening is probably some kind of researcher.
Sure.
So let's be a researcher. Now let's talk about Zach Bagans.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about who else? Let's talk about Taps. Let's talk about Jason Hawes.
Jason, yeah.
I know I like Taps. I like the
Mm-hmm.
old Taps when they were with Roto Rooter. I don't like the
Yeah,
new one, but I like
right.
back then.
I like Steve
And,
Gonzalez. He's pretty cool.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Steve.
she's good. Now let's talk about them. Now, have you ever heard of them where they've gone and the government has gone to them and say, "Hey, you can't do this"?
No, no.
No, Zach Bagans either.
Yeah,
He's
no.
what in his 29th season
Yeah,
of Ghost
really.
Adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, 29 seasons. The guy, and he's never had a government official knock on the door. I did one thing in my life
Mm-hmm.
where I was ready to go public with what I found, and I get a knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a gag order. Here's a search warrant. Now shut up, or you want to go to jail.
Yeah.
Oh, here, take this stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That means
But
something.
people like you and me, and like people like Ruben,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you can't disclose stuff. They'll be knocking on the door.
That's crazy.
It's just, and they followed me here. I left California to get away from all the political garbage and got here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I was in the paper 6 months later that the Bigfoot guy is here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they tracked me down. It was like, it's okay, whatever.
Wow.
I'm good with that. So,
Yeah.
and then we've got the Bigfoot UFO UAP
Mm-hmm.
connection.
Yeah.
And I think we discussed this on the last time we talked with Ruben.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's true. I somehow there is a connection in there.
Why
I believe
not?
that,
Yeah.
maybe this is going to be really far fetched. You ready?
Yeah.
Maybe there goes the power. So
Ooh,
I'm talking about,
the light,
I'm
the
talking about
moon.
ghosts now.
Yeah.
Woo! So here comes the UFO. Now, I don't understand why UFOs have lights all over them, why anybody would want to see them, but that's beside the point.
Right.
So here comes this UFO flying over into the forest, and it lands, and then boom, they let a Bigfoot out. Everybody sees the Bigfoot. Oh my God, there's a Bigfoot right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's a Bigfoot. And they see the Bigfoot run back to the spaceship, and the spaceship takes off. People have reported that.
Wow.
I have reports. I share my reports with Ruben.
Yeah.
That's how Ruben and I keep our relationship together, because we share reports.
Wow. See, now I was thinking that they just use the same portals. You know what I mean? Like the same
They could.
but that's that's amazing.
But just imagine this UFO coming down into the trees.
Yeah.
Beam down Scotty, beam down a Bigfoot. The Bigfoot goes and does whatever it's supposed to be doing, whatever they do.
Right.
You see it. They go back to the ship, get back on the ship, and they fly away.
Wow.
I have reports where people have seen that here in the Appalachians.
Wow.
They've seen it, and not too far from here. Meigs County, is not. I'm probably 10 miles from Meigs County, but there's a lot of weird stuff out there, and people are. That's what they do. They report, because my email address was in the newspaper from here.
Mm-hmm.
To report, and I get them all the time. It's just weird. It's just, I don't see it as being a coincidence. I think it's really happening.
Yeah, like even if they're just in cahoots with each other,
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to, and I don't want to offend anybody. I sometimes I'm really cautious, but I'm learning to not shut up anymore.
Yeah, right.
I'm too old to worry about the person that doesn't think this way or that way. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, you know what your intentions are exactly.
Well, everybody has an opinion.
Right.
Okay, maybe mine is not the right opinion, and maybe I hurt somebody's feelings, or which I've already done with my writings. I've upset a few people,
Hmm.
but I don't care. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
I will respect your opinion if you respect mine.
Yeah. It's
I
just an
mean, what you
opinion.
have to say,
Yeah.
if you want to believe that Bigfoot is real and hides in caves at night, and
Hmm.
I just read, what, 4 or 5 years ago, that some guy was kidnapped and the Bigfoot did bad things to him
Oh, yeah.
and let him go.
Hmm.
You remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's go in the newspaper and tell it Bigfoot raped me. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's going to
No,
have to be edited out. I'm sorry.
not.
But just,
Yeah.
I mean, how I would never say that or do that.
Right.
I'm just not that kind of person. But
Right.
I guess the guy's famous. He's out there,
Yeah.
looking for something. I'm not quite sure what he's looking for, but if
Yeah.
I had been in that position, I wouldn't be going back out in the forest, I'll tell you.
Have you read the one recently where there's a woman that came out and said that she had Bigfoot's baby?
Yes, I
Hmm.
saw that one. That was in the
Yeah.
National Enquirer.
I would like to see a picture of that child.
Oh, me too. Could you remember way back, Jocko? Was it Jocko?
Um,
That was in Russia. They had the baby Bigfoot in Jocko. They had him in the
yes,
circus.
I
Yeah, that's
believe.
probably what it would look like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
probably.
one that's famous stuff right there, the
Yeah.
Jocko stuff. And any of the minor stuff too. Any of the
Mm-hmm.
gold rush people, any
Oh
of that
man.
stuff is famous.
Yes.
You know, those are written from people that are back in the 1840s and 1850s. I've
Yeah.
done a couple of I did a real long research one time. I started in California and actually finished it here, so it's probably 3 or 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It took me that long to get all the information from everybody, but I think I posted it on your website, on your
Mm-hmm.
Facebook,
Yeah.
about the kid, and his dad told him to go back to work, and he got to see one up close and personal right beside him,
Yeah.
and he couldn't pull the trigger.
Right.
It's just, yeah, I
Right.
that's a real document.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real gold
Yeah.
rush document, in Sutter's
Yeah.
Fort in California. So,
When I
but
think about that stuff, I think about Edgar Casey
okay,
and like, you know what I mean? Like the how they kind of like it's like mind manipulation.
right,
There's another word for it and I can't remember, but it's almost like silent brainwashing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
like the thing that told you to turn, like he told you to turn around and not look at him. Like your intuition had to have been honed in on him for
Yeah,
you guys to be able to have that exchange.
yeah,
Like two spiritual beings, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And that,
he was gorgeous.
oh, I
The
bet.
thing was gorgeous. I mean, he was
Yeah.
beige,
Uh-huh.
7 to 8 feet tall, 400 plus pounds. And
Wow.
he was looking back and forth. But the thing that was in the log, there was these two big red eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and the head was moving back and forth. And
Mm-hmm.
it was looking over there, and it was looking over at me, and looking at the thing in the log.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking over at me. And then he finally did that one last. I told the guy I was with that I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna go right up on it. I
Yeah.
had no fear at the time, and I was actually standing on a log, a tree that had been cut,
Yeah.
and I'm standing on a log and I'm filming. And I'm saying, okay, it's right here. I'm using my finger as a pointer,
Mm-hmm.
looking through the viewfinder. Everybody's moving. I'm thinking to myself, well, now that I watch it, move your damn finger. You dummy. He's behind my finger. And I'm thinking, then you finally get a picture of it, but I
Mm-hmm.
finally see it, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to go up there. I mean, what
Mm-hmm.
have I had to lose? I mean, it's already watching me,
Yeah.
and I could not step off that log.
Oh.
The camera became so heavy,
Oh wow.
and then he finally lowered his head, and he lifted his eyes up and looked. His hair came down, and he looked through like that, like a real evil looking like, do not come over here. And
Yeah.
that's when I have there's cold chills for you. I got the real thing going on right now. And I turned my back to him.
uh,
And, the other guy I was with, his name's Scott.
mhm,
The other guy I was with comes over, and it had to be a couple of minutes.
mhm.
Go, Daryl, wake up, buddy. Come on, let's go. Let's, go back down. Let's go. I stood up, and I, I know I've said it before, but I urinated.
Yeah.
It was not, there was no control.
Mhm,
There was nothing. I just realized that I had wet my pants.
mhm.
And I go, did you see it? Did you see it? He goes, what? I go, dude, I filmed it. It was right there. He's right there. I said, it's still, he goes, no, he goes, I didn't see anything.
Wow.
Because all I did was watch you fall off the log.
Mhm,
And he said, everything disappeared. It was gone. He goes, I came over and picked you up. And what took us 3 hours to go up the mountain
mhm.
took us 20 minutes to go down.
Oh my goodness.
So that's how fast we were going down. I didn't care.
Mhm.
I just, I
Yeah.
wanted to get back down. I was terrified that was one of those
Mhm.
late nights, where, and
Mm,
it was the middle of the daytime. I was
mhm.
terrified. And
Yeah.
I've seen two since then. I've seen one at Clipper Mills, or I'm sorry, Stumpy Meadows. I saw one.
Mhm.
He was running left to right away from me.
Mhm.
My son-in-law was with us. I took a few snapshots of him, running across. And then I saw another one in Placerville, which was up by, it was up Highway 50,
Uh-huh.
Grass Valley area.
Yep.
There's a lady up there that has a vineyard. I still talk to her on a daily basis.
Mhm.
She just wrote me today and told me happy birthday.
Oh.
But she was the one who invited us up there, and there was footprints everywhere. There were just footprints
Mm.
everywhere.
Wow.
And we put up a game camera and
Mhm.
actually took a picture. Yeah, okay. So we're talking pictures again.
Mhm.
We took a picture of some kind of shoulder.
Mhm.
It's almost like they know what cameras are. And then
Yeah. Well, their
a few
senses
weeks,
are heightened.
yes.
Mhm.
Then a few weeks later, she wrote me and said that they saw a purple basketball sized ball
Mhm.
come down behind her house and was spinning behind her house. It was lighting up her little pond
Uh-huh.
and her cornfields. And this little purple ball was rolling and rolling and rolling. It was making these purple flashes on her back window of her home. It woke her up because that was her room. And they
Wow.
all went outside. Her whole family went outside. Her two sons, her husband, and her, and some other people. And they
Mhm.
went outside, and this ball shot straight up in the sky and disappeared.
Wow.
So it's, and she still tells the story that way. She
Mhm.
still, I asked her, I said, any
Yeah.
more purple balls? She said, nope.
Mhm.
I said, okay,
Uh-huh.
I, but yeah, these are strange phenomena that go on here.
Yeah.
And people they just don't want to believe. And
Yeah.
it's hard for people like you and I
Mhm.
to try to get them. I tell people all the time, they
Mhm.
say, well, I don't believe in Bigfoot because I've never seen one.
Yeah.
Well, do you believe in God?
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen God?
Right.
Well, no, but I've seen the miracles that God do. Well,
Mhm.
okay, but I'm not going to dispute that. But listen to what you're saying. You
Yeah.
don't believe
And
in Bigfoot because you've never seen one.
mhm.
So it should be the same way. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I always get myself in trouble saying that. I always
No.
try to get myself in trouble.
I,
But
I get all the time, when I ask people that, do you believe in God? And they're like, yeah, but it's, why do you believe in God? Because it's a feeling, right? They say it's a
right.
feeling that I have. Well, that's how I feel about Bigfoot. It's a feeling that I
Mhm.
have. Yeah,
I live and breathe Bigfoot.
right.
Look at my shirt.
I know. I
Every
know.
bit of clothing I own has got some kind of Bigfoot
Hmm.
thing on it. I live and breathe Bigfoot.
Yeah. I
They say,
yeah.
when you see one, it's an addiction.
Hmm.
It's like a drug you can't put down.
I've
It's
always believed, since I was 5 years old, I've always
Yeah,
believed in Bigfoot. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't start believing until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
But man, was I hooked. I
Yeah.
mean, I am hooked, and I
Hmm.
will go to my deathbed
Mm-hmm.
believing in Bigfoot. And
Yeah.
that's unfortunate because I just know they're never going to find one.
And
I
that, you know
believe that.
what? That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree because you know what? The next generation is coming up pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
There's always
Yeah.
the next generation. And if we can
Yes.
just, I, that's
Speaking
why I do
of,
this.
and you're gonna like this. So this weekend, we have our very first research expedition going
Okay.
up to Detroit Lake, and it's me and let me see, one, two, three, four, five other adults, and I am
Okay.
taking my daughter. And I'm
Awesome.
so excited. Yeah, because she's
Absolutely.
right now, she's all about camping and stuff, but she's like, Ma, Bigfoot, I don't know, Ma, But
You know?
I'm really excited to get her into it and to teach her, and maybe she'll grow up with the knowledge and
Yeah.
the passion that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I taught Boy Scouts in California how to cast
Uh-huh.
prints.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I go out with I'll go, I did a whole thing with a bunch of kids out there one time
Mm-hmm.
where I told the parents what we were doing, but we created footprints along a creek. We created a
Uh-huh.
bunch of footprints
Uh-huh.
and parents realized that I put a Bluetooth
Uh-huh.
out in the middle of the forest and played monster sounds, howlings and things like that
Uh-huh.
in the forest, to give the kids a thrill,
Yeah.
to make them think that there's one out
To
there.
get them
And then the
excited.
next morning,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. The next morning, they all went out along the bank
Uh-huh.
and everybody found a footprint. Of course, we created them
Right.
and everybody got plaster of Paris. We showed everybody how to cast the print and everybody took a print home.
Wonderful.
So that got,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're in their teens. I talked to a couple of them that are still excited about going out, but
Yeah.
a lot of them just, it end up, just like my stuff when I pass, I'm sure my stuff will end up in the garbage,
Oh
you
God,
know,
no. I
just,
hope
oh yeah,
not.
oh yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Uh,
but that's beside the point,
yeah.
I worry about because I have books.
Mm-hmm.
I have these black books. Next time we do one of these,
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you my book.
Okay.
I have 7 of them. That's nothing but proof.
Mm-hmm.
It's emails and people that have written me and said, yeah, we believe in them. Here's your DNA results, blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
this and that. A proof,
Mm-hmm.
but don't say anything. I don't want you to say anything.
Uh-huh.
If you say anything, Daryl, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Oh,
Well, okay, whatever.
yeah.
I'm going to be in trouble. But, you know, what do you do? What can you do that you haven't already done to me?
Yeah, they can't take your birthday away because you just had
You
that
know,
today.
what,
So,
gonna make my defibrillator 5G and shut me off?
oh my
You know,
God.
knock, knock yourself out. So yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I'm just telling you,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be really careful with what you do and say,
Yeah.
and we all have to be careful. But we as researchers, we need to learn to share.
Yeah.
We need to learn to share each other,
Yeah.
what we do and how we do it and why we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody on there just talked about hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote on there, I always wear gloves.
Right.
You don't want to touch hair with your fingers because then you contaminate the hair and it's no good.
Right.
Always use tweezers. Have some kind of, I never use a
Mm-hmm.
plastic bag. Plastic bag can get moisture in it.
Mm-hmm.
I go to like Hobby Lobby.
Mm-hmm.
They have Hobby Lobby up there?
Yeah, they do.
Probably.
Yeah.
And they make these little plastic containers, probably no bigger than I
Yeah.
don't know, just a little plastic container.
Uh-huh.
And they have a snap top on them with a rubber seal.
Yep.
And there's no moisture can get in and out of there.
Right.
I still have hair. I have pictures of hair. I think I posted them on your Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
That
You
if I
did.
open that container, I can still smell it.
Wow.
And it smells terrible,
Yeah.
but you can still smell it.
Right.
That's how fresh it still is. And it's
That's
years
amazing.
old.
Wow.
It's years old.
Yeah.
So you can,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only way. But you'll always,
Right.
there's always people out there that are just don't
Mm-hmm.
believe or
Mm-hmm.
when you do say something or when you try to do something, you'll always have that knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And that I will be really honest with you. And I'm going to say this. And I'm terrified of the knock on the doors. I'm
Really?
terrified
Yeah.
because I've already lost so much. I lost,
Mm-hmm.
I lost the majority of my stuff when my house burned down.
Right.
I lost a lot of stuff, and I lost horses and dogs, and
Mm-hmm.
I lost the only thing that was left was a chimney and
Oh,
a refrigerator.
it's
Other
horrible.
people lost their home too up there,
Yes.
but
Mm-hmm.
but we lost our. I mean, I lost everything. I rescued what I could rescue,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be honest with you. The first thing I grabbed was my handprint.
Yeah.
There's and it,
Mm-hmm.
there's only 4 of these in the United States.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
people have them, but
Mm-hmm.
but I have I have. If you look at this, let me pull this up here again.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at this,
Yeah.
you see these?
Uh-huh. The
These are the
written.
little pads on your hand. You see
Yes.
that? You see?
Wow. Oh my God.
I
That's,
can't I can't
yes,
see
I
it.
can see them perfectly.
But you
Yep.
see the little
You
pads?
can.
And
Yep.
here's the thumb.
Yeah.
So just like this.
Yep.
See, there's my hand
Is
compared to it.
is that one of them that is showcased at the museum up
No,
up in Boring? Oh,
no.
okay.
Nobody has this but me.
That's a one of a
I won't
kind.
I won't let anybody duplicate it
Oh.
because people will duplicate them and they will sell them.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they'll
Not
profit
that
off
I'm not
them.
going to get the money. I don't really care. But
Right.
a this is 30 years old.
Oh my
My
gosh.
This is my pride and joy right here.
Wow.
But if you really look, it's real close. You can see
Yeah.
the little
I
pads,
yeah, it's
you know.
perfect.
And this is let me see what finger. This is a finger.
Oh man.
And here's another thing. I'm going to show you one more too.
Okay.
Let me show you this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So people say, wow, that really doesn't it looks fake. Let me show you something if you really want to know a real print.
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I can see it. You see the toenails?
Yes. Oh my God.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, unless Bigfoot clips their toenails
Right.
or they chew on them like I know kids do, but
Uh-huh.
if you look, you can see the
You
toenails on there.
can.
You can.
Oh my
That's how
God.
you know if a print is real
Yeah. That's a
because
good indicator.
this is one of those things
Yeah.
where people will look at it and go, that's fake. Okay, show me
Mhm.
why there's toenails on there.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
You
So
know?
cool, Daryl.
So,
Yeah.
well, it's always a pleasure to do anything with you guys. I appreciate
Thank
you and
you.
your people and allowing me to post my long posts. I'm
Oh.
sorry. My posts are long because I have so much I want to say. And
And
they're still coming.
we love
Um,
them. I've never had any
you
complaints.
know,
I've only heard good things about them and about you. When
you know.
people talk about you, they just talk about you with love. So,
Well, I appreciate
yeah.
it. I do appreciate that, and I
Hmm.
promise you, I'll slow down here pretty soon. But
Hmm.
I get to the point where I like to do the education. I'm in it for
Yeah,
the education. I'm not in it for anything else but that.
me too. Yeah.
And I try to keep my posts educational.
Hmm.
And it takes me, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it takes me a couple of weeks to write one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have several already written, but
Hmm.
I go back in them and I change them or I rewrite them. And,
Right.
I don't like some of the wording. I'm not great at punctuations.
Hmm.
I'm not great at spelling. Thank God for spell checker.
Right.
My commas and my
Yeah.
question marks and things are probably not perfect, but if you can, like I tell people, if you can know what 2 2 and 2 is,
Yeah.
then you understand what I'm saying.
I
And
just read them my own way. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
and we're, it's like,
Right.
let me see if WHER, does that go here or does WERE go there,
Right.
So, but I write and I, people say I have long posts. I can't help it. I really cannot help it.
Yeah, they're
I want to, I
wonderful.
put everything into them, my heart.
Oh, damn it. Well, we accidentally got cut off there at the end, but That was Daryl, my good friend Daryl. He's awesome, and I'm so glad that I get to share him with everyone because he is a super cool dude. So, anyways, thanks, Daryl, and thanks for listening, you guys. Talk to you later.